Hello, my dear friends. Welcome back to another episode of Dr. Arya's Vlogs. Today, I am going to discuss a very important topic for theory as well as practical point of view, that is Facebow. So, coming to the definition of Facebow, according to Snow in 1802, it is defined as a caliper-like device which is used to record the relationship of maxilla and or mandible to the temporomandibular joint. So, according to him, it is a caliper-like device. Okay. And it is used to record the relationship of the maxilla and or mandible to TMJ. That is defined by Snow in 1802. Okay. And most popular definition is given by Glossary of Prosthodontic Terms 9th edition. It is frequently asked viva question for practicals. So what is Facebow or define Facebow? If anybody asks you to define Facebow, then you have to tell as in the Glossary of Prosthodontic Terms 9th edition. So Facebow, it is defined as an instrument. Okay, here it is defined as an instrument used to record the spatial relationship of maxillary arch to some anatomic reference point or points and then transfer this relationship to an articulator. So it is an instrument which is used to record the spatial relationship of maxillary arch to some anatomic reference point or points and then transfer this relationship to an articulator. Okay. And it orients the dental cast in the same relationship to opening axis of the articulator. Okay, so Facebow orients the dental cast in the same relationship to the opening axis of articulator. And customarily, the anatomic references are the mandibular transverse horizontal axis and one other selected anterior reference point. So what is it? It is an instrument used to record the spatial relationship of maxillary arch to some anatomic reference point or points and then transfer this relationship to an articulator. And it orients the dental cast in the same relationship to opening axis of the articulator. Customarily, the anatomic references are mandibular transverse horizontal axis and one other selected anterior reference point. So, this definition can be studied under these sections. Okay. First one is here an instrument to this articulator. Okay. Then it orients to the opening axis of articulator. Then it customarily anatomic references are mandibular transverse horizontal axis and one other selected anterior reference point. Okay, the structure and functioning of the Facebow should be thoroughly learned to perform accurate orientation joculation. And the Facebow basically contains three sections. The one section represents the plane of the cranium. So it is by U frame. Okay, U frame represents the plane of the cranium. Then second section represents the plane of the maxilla, that is by bifork. Okay, and the third section, it locks the first two sections without altering their plane by locking device. So there are three sections are there. So coming to parts of a Facebow. These are the various parts of a Facebow. Let's discuss in detail. Okay, it is a Hanau springbow. What is it? It type this is a earpiece type of Facebow. Okay, Hanau springbow. This is the Hanau springbow, and it is an earpiece type of Facebow. It captures the record of a patient's maxillary arch and its relation to the external auditory meatus, and also preserving and transferring the relation. That is about the Hanau springbow. Okay. And main features are it is autoclavable, it is self-centering, much more comfortable, and it is rapid. Okay. And these are the parts of a spring bow. Okay. Here it is bow, then transfer clamp assembly, then bite fork is there. Okay, bite fork is there. Then the anterior elevator, then the mounting platform, then cast support. These are the various parts of a spring bow. Okay. So these are the various parts of a Facebow. Let's discuss one by one in detail. So coming to various parts. First one is the U-shaped frame, or otherwise known as it is a bow. Okay. Here it is the U-shaped frame or bow. Actually it is the main frame of the Facebow. Okay. And all the other components are attached to the frame. And it extends from the region of TMJ on one side to the other side without contacting the face. So this is the U-shaped frame. Here these are the condylar rods. These are two small metallic rods on either side of the free end of U-shaped frame, and it contacts the skin over the TMJ. Okay, these are the condylar rods. It is used to locate the hinge axis and transfer it to the articulator. And this one is the orbital pointer. Here, this is the positioning and locking of the orbital pointer. Okay. So coming to the transfer clamp assembly. This is the transfer clamp assembly, or otherwise it is known as locking device. Okay. So what is it? The part of the Facebow which just helps to attach the bite fork to the U-shaped frame. This also supports the Facebow, occlusal rims, and the cast during articulation. And it consists of a transfer rod and a transverse rod. Okay. U-shaped frame is attached to the vertical transfer rod, and the position of this transfer rod can be locked with a thumb screw. So this one is a bite fork. Here it is represents the normal fork. Okay, it represents the normal fork, and it is a bite fork. It is a U-shaped plate. Okay, which is attached to the occlusal rims while recording the orientation correlation, and it is attached to the frame with the help of a rod called a stem. This is a stem. Okay, and this bite fork should be inserted about 3 mm below the occlusal surface within the occlusal rim. And this is a bite plane. This is the bite plane. Next, coming to the bite fork preparation. This is for both edentulous as well as dentulous patients. So coming to edentulous patients. So that the bite fork is attached to this is the bite fork. It is attached to the maxillary occlusal rim by heating the tines and piercing them fully into the maxillary. So the heating the tines, okay, and these are the tines, and piercing them fully into the wax rim. Okay, this is the wax rim, and the tines which are parallel to the occlusal plane. So this is the occlusal plane, and this must be parallel to the, these are tines must be parallel to the occlusal plane. Then 3 mm from the occlusal surface. This is 3 mm, and it shall not distort the occlusal surface. Okay. So here the bite fork is mildly warmed on a burner and slowly inserted into the maxillary occlusal rim 3 mm above and parallel to the occlusal plane. The center of the fork should coincide with the patient's midline. This is the patient's midline, and the center of the fork should coincide with the patient's midline. In this picture, it clearly shows that the midline of the bite fork, here it is the midline of the bite fork, this one is the midline of the bite fork, and it should coincide with the midline of the occlusal rim. Okay, midline of the occlusal rim. Here it is the midline of the bite fork, coincides with the midline of the occlusal rim. And the stem of the bite fork should be parallel to the sagittal plane. This is the sagittal plane, and this must be parallel to the stem of the bite fork should be parallel to the sagittal plane. Okay. And in this picture, it shows locking the stem of the bite fork to the transverse rod. This is the transverse rod, and the locking of the stem of the bite fork to the transverse rod. The stem of the bite fork shall be at the patient's left. This is the stem of the bite fork. This one is the stem of the bite fork. This must be at the patient's left. This is the patient's left, and be approximately parallel to the sagittal plane. Sagittal plane. So must be parallel to the sagittal plane. Okay. So this is the wax rim. Heat and pierce into the wax rim. Stem at the left, and it is can be approximately parallel to the sagittal plane. And the assembly shall form a rigid occlusal rim or bite fork stem assembly as though in one piece. Do not disturb the occlusal surface. Okay, here it is pierced and rigid, and it kept at a one piece. It shall not distort. And for dangerous patient, triple layer of hard base plate wax or compound is used, suitable for obtaining a occlusal imprint of the maxillary cusp. Softened impression material is seated against the maxillary occlusal surface to create a distinct cuspal imprint without metal contact. Then the stem of the bite fork must be parallel to the sagittal plane and at the left side of the patient. Okay. Then chill the wax occlusal imprint. Check it against the maxillary cusp for accurate seating. Then there is an alternative technique, that is fabricate an occlusal index on the bite fork. Here it is the fabrication of an occlusal index on the bite fork. And then the heat seal the periphery and soften throughout in a water bath. Seat and hand mold the wax around the rim. Chill to assure removal and accurate replacement of the wax rim in its indexed bite. That is the alternative technique. Next part is the anterior elevator. This one is the anterior elevator. This slides onto the transfer rod. This is the transfer rod, and this anterior elevator slides onto the transfer rod. Then place the larger hole first and twist the elevator over and onto the rubber ring. This is the rubber ring. Okay. Place the larger hole first and twist the elevator over and onto the rubber ring. The elevating pin and thumb screw toward the front. This is the elevating pin and this is the thumb screw. Okay, here it is the anterior elevator. Here this one is the larger hall. So the larger hall is placing first and twist the elevator over and onto the rubber ring, the elevating pin and thumb screw. This is the elevating pin and thumb screw toward the front. Okay, and slide the elevating pin. Here it is the elevating pin. Slide the elevating pin to its uppermost position and secure by thumb screw. This is the thumb screw and it is secured by this thumb screw. Okay, that is anterior elevator. So the next part is mounting platform. It is available for indirect mounting of the maxillary cast. And this indirect mounting, it allows the spring bow to remain in the dental operatory itself. The transfer rod, this is the transfer rod or biplane assembly with cast or impressions and intraocclusal records are sent to the laboratory for mounting. And the maxillary cast is accurately related by transfer rod placement in the mounting platform. So that is the mounting platform or mounting jig. Okay. Here it is the cast support. This one is the cast support. So coming to the next part, that is cast support. This is the cast support and here it is offered to support the bifork and maintain its position when adding the cast weight and stone mix. So this is the cast support. Okay. Here to support the bite fork and maintain the position when adding the cast weight and stone mix. That's all for today's lecture. Please do like, share and subscribe my channel for more videos. Thanks for watching.